We talked about this a while back. Every cycle is different. Every cycle has different types of dynamics, different narratives, different focuses that allow you to make the most bang for your buck and the most money. This cycle, it's been different, right? It's harder than the last, no doubt about it. But I think if we play our cards right and we continue to be as disciplined as possible and learn from each other and learn from our experts and learn from people that are crushing it right now, we can still make good money and be positioned really well when the market does recover. Because remember, it always recovers. Now, some projects from the past might not recover, so we have to cut losses on some, but the alts, the main alts, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, they always recover, right? I think the super easy money making days might be over. The easy 10, 20, 50 X's might be over. And we talked about this for the past year and a half. If you've been in our programs, if you've been in our syndicate, if you've listened, we talked about since a year and a half ago that it's going to get harder and harder. And I think at the end of 2025, early 2026, it's going to be just like every other industry. You're going to have to really work, really have the right teams. I think AI bots will outperform most humans, and it won't be like it is now. But we still have time. All right. That's important to understand. We still have time. So I've done a lot of research. I've had a lot of conversations. I think most people need to recalibrate their baseline expectations, and we were spoiled the past couple of years. But I think the factors right now that are attributing to this retraction, to the liquidity being kind of sucked out the market, is the stock market crashing, the economic slowdown. There's been 170 something thousand layoffs the past, I think, 6 months, and the tariff talks from Trump and the bursting of kind of the meme bubbles, right? I think the combination of all those things have made the market a little unstable. And I think the fear meter is at an all-time high. Now, of course, if you go by fundamentals, when everyone's in fears, when you should get a little greedy. It's hard to get greedy when there's so much fear, but that's where the money is made. If you look historically and you look at the different types of previous upturns, downturns, and previous pumps and previous retractions, you'll see that if you invested when things were down, you would be sitting very pretty. And I'll show you some charts too. Now, once again, the last couple bull runs were primarily driven by individual retail investors with limited capital. There was still capital and there were still some corporations, but now I believe this is short-term pain for longer-term success market pumps in a sense, right? Right now, I think the driving force will be countries and corporations and banks and billionaires and major institutions creating an opportunity that's going to be unprecedented. We just don't know when it's going to be. No one knows exactly when. There's so many influencers and there's so many people on Twitter saying it's going to happen end of April. It's going to happen next week. It's going to happen any day. It's going to happen in the summer. It's going to happen in July. Like no one actually knows. People are just guessing. So when there's only assumptions, you have to go to previous market cycles. You have to go to your inner circle of people that you feel are the most intelligent and the most experienced. I have two paid, very, very high paid groups I'm a part of. I really am soaking in from their experts. I'm using that mixed with my own research, my own previous experience, and sitting down and really thinking about what's happening. I do know what's very, very common amongst all of the people I respect and all the people that I listen to. Crypto's going nowhere. There was a crypto event, and Trump is very, very committed to making sure crypto is here to stay. They have a Bitcoin reserve. There's a lot of the ETFs happened last year. And I do know every time big corporations and big hedge funds and a lot of big smart money wants to get into crypto, there's always FUD, and they always somehow seem to drive the price down because they want your Bitcoin, they want your ETH for cheap. So it is an understanding that that's what they want. They don't want, if they know something we don't know, which is what sadly what the case usually is, they don't want to pay 270 for Solana. They don't want to pay 107 for Bitcoin. They want to pay 79 or 80K, maybe 65K. So what they do is they manipulate, they create some FUD, they do all kinds of stuff, whatever they do behind the scenes to scare the majority. And sadly, the newbies are out first. Oh, this is not for me. They get in, they lose 5 grand. I can't do this. I'm out, right? And they're like, perfect. We got the newbies money. And that's just how it goes. So being in the cycles, being in the markets in 17, I've seen it so many times where there's manipulation and JP Morgan says, Bitcoin's a scam. It goes down. They buy. It goes back up. They got their Bitcoin for cheap. So that's kind of common sense if you've been in the game a long time. If I bring up some of our experts, they'll probably agree that's what they've seen. But at the same time, nobody knows what's going to happen. You have to base things off stats, previous data, previous market cycles, and your inner circle advice, right? So here's what I was looking up that I've showed once before that I want to share this morning. So you guys can see this is coin market cap. Let's go to Bitcoin. Now, the COVID recession, and you can look at the three different big market crashes in the past 10 years. The COVID recession was February 2020, was when all the fear came. March 2020 was even more fear. So if you look at the dates here, this is kind of when the fear started right here, and then the market dipped. Bitcoin was at 5K. So you see, this is when all the fear happened and people thought the end of the world was coming. So this is COVID, lockdown. You can't go outside. The world's ending. There's no money. But what happened is right after they started printing money and the money printer got turned on. So all of a sudden, whoa, 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 whoa. 5K to 57K, down, a little scare, and then back to 50, 60K, 60, 63K. Oh my gosh, look what happens. Back to, of course, 100 and something. And the cycle continues. If you look at ETH, same thing. If you look at almost every major alt layer one, you can see, look what happened. This is COVID right here, $132. And what happened a year later? 4,000. I don't know what X that is, but that's a lot. So the same thing's happening. Now there's more money at play and more people that want your Bitcoin and your ETH. So you have to just understand, people were so scared right here. They thought the industry was over. And then look at all this money, billions and billions and billions of dollars. Okay. So you have to understand that when there's a ton of fear, there's always a little short-term dip, 50, 60%, 30%. And then all of a sudden, bam, something happens. And most people are caught with their pants down. They're out of the market, or they made no money because they never invested.